So my Vanguard account just crossed over the $800,000 point, and a lot of that is due to some specific stocks like AMD, Meta, a couple other stocks like SoFi, like ELF. But I did want to share one specific stock that I think is undervalued and is something that, as you're somebody, if you're somebody watching this and you're going, okay, I've got some cash that I can use, or I can deploy it in any specific modality. Maybe it's every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. We can talk through this stock. I want to share some ideas, share some specific thoughts I've had, and even looking at some of their specific growth patterns over the last year and what's ending up happening within the corporate level. And I think it's important when we're looking at a stock, in this case, Nike. Okay, there's the quote from Peter Lynch where it's essentially, if you can't explain a stock to an 11-year-old within 2 minutes or 30 seconds to 2 minutes, then you have no business actually talking about that stock. And I'm here in Norway right now on a business trip. I just got back from Tokyo, Japan. And when I was in Tokyo, Japan, I noticed that outside of ASICS, a lot of people are still wearing Nike. And when I was starting to look at the Nike income over the last year, now keep in mind, it's been almost exactly a year since they brought in their new CEO, who has been deploying a massive turnaround. And some of the stuff that he's talked about specifically is that they've gotten away from retail. Okay, they got away from retail, and it hurt them because during the crisis with COVID, okay, they got away from retail because people couldn't go out, so they started to sell direct to consumer on their website. And so what are they doing now? Yes, they still have their website, but now what they're trying to do is redevelop that retail relationship. They're reopening their Amazon store. They know that all of these different avenues, and that people do like to shop, people do like to price compare, and they want to see Nike in front of them. Okay, so there's a lot of different opportunities that they've sort of just let go by the wayside over the last 3 to 4 years, and they're just now starting to reignite all that specific retail. And then when you're looking at it in specific regions, okay, Asia, Latin America, I think their sales are up about 1%, but they have just started to really push in these specific stores in these other countries. You look at Greater China, they're down 10%. Okay, so in China, they're down 10%. And again, they're just starting to push more retail sales there because they can't sell as well online in China. You're looking at, Europe, same thing. Sales are up about 2% right now, 1% to 2%. North America, I think it was 4 to 5%. On the year, this past quarter, the past earnings that they just reported, they're up about 2% on their revenue. They had a double beat on their reporting. So one of the big factors that I think is that if you're looking at this as an opportunity, it's a $70 stock. And if we think back to the Peter Lynch quote, and you're going, okay, can I explain this company to a 10-year-old in 30 seconds? It's a shoe company. They are trying to sell to more athletes. They are trying to promote fitness and athleticism to athletes of all ages. They use high-profile athletes to sell that, but they're also trying to get more into the running space. They've had pressure from Hoka and from On, and now they're starting to react to that by making their own version of those thicker style shoes that avid runners like myself are actually wearing. And so it's a very easy stock that you can explain. And then you can go even deeper and say, okay, they've got MJ, so they got the Jordan aspect, they have Nike, and then they have Converse. So they essentially have 3 areas. And what's interesting here is that they just recently completely revamped the leadership at Converse. Okay, and then they're also revamping the layout of Nike specifically, and even Jordan. So they're taking these, and instead of separating it into menswear and women's wear and kids, they're going, okay, let's put this into specific sports. Let's go basketball. Let's go into running. And so all of the culture is starting to change in corporate because they're trying to go back to where they were, taking advantage of retail opportunity, still selling direct to consumer, trying to push out way more stuff even on Amazon. And yes, they're going to take some hits to their revenue, but it doesn't matter because they're going to have greater amounts of sales. And then they're starting to dial in the actual product that they're selling and even improve Their running product, their basketball shoe, the shoes that they're so well known for, and the assets that they have. Look at LeBron. They have a lifetime contract with LeBron. That is an asset that we cannot discount. So if we're looking at a stock at $71 and we think that they can increase revenue, especially based off of what they showed over the last year, look at this freaking view here. I wanted to share this because I'm down by a river. The view is absolutely insane, and even behind me. And one of the big things around this is that I wanted to share this because as I'm here, everyone in this town is running. Okay, everybody. And when I want to talk through this is that I'm going, okay, everybody here runs. Everybody's super healthy in Norway. Genuinely, everybody's healthy. Their most famous runner is Jakob Ingebrigtsen. He's sponsored by Nike. And you see some people still wearing Hoka shoes, but everybody's pretty much wearing Nikes. And what's going to happen, and I believe this is what we're going to end up seeing, is that you see the thicker sole Hokas. And so essentially what we see in the fitness space is that there's the thick soles, and then you've got the like Vibram style, like flat shoe, like a Converse shoe, right? And so we're starting to see people who are running more, they want the thicker shoe because that's going to protect their knees. They're going to protect their hips. It's going to protect their ankles. And then if they're doing more resistance training, they can go with a more of a primal shoe or whatever you might talk about, like a Converse. And so to come back to this case here in Norway, everybody's running. Everyone's wearing Nikes mainly. And if you have a leader like Jakob Ingebrigtsen, the head of their, the most famous runner, they're going to keep buying products, especially as they start to open stores in a town like where I'm located. If they start to open more stores in a town like Oslo. And so that's the way that they're going to win back those sales in Europe, that they're going to win more sales even in in Latin America, and even, all throughout Asia, and then continue to grow throughout the United States. And I think the big thing I want to bring up is that we've seen On try to push it. We've seen Hoka try to push it. We've seen Ultra try to push it. They've put some dents in, but it's not going to do anything. Under Armour hasn't done anything towards Nike, and now we're starting to see, yes, Adidas is still there, but what it really comes down to is all of this space. We got equipment, we got shoes, and we have apparel. So if you're looking at equipment, shoes, and apparel, and you've got a leader in owner or running the entire ship right now, we know that they're going to make the right decisions. He's already turning things around after a year. And if we think about what we want to do, we want to buy and hold a stock for 2, 3, 4 years from now. And if we're looking out to 2028, 2029, 2030, we got the World Cup coming, we got the Olympics coming. I believe over the next 2 to 3, 4 years, this stock is going to grow like crazy. They're going to see all the mistakes that they've made with the previous consultant / CEO that they had. Elliott Hill is back rolling with the company, and they are going to get back up to that $150 to $200 range in the next 2 years. So that's my take on Nike. That's where I'm rolling with it. I purchased this early on back in, this is around March or April. And the thing is I wanted to get out of it. I kept thinking through it, but I'm like, you know what? Let's stick with this thing, see what happens over the next year. And I think they're heading in an absolutely fantastic direction. So I'm staying the true course and holding for the long term. Hope this helps somebody out there. Until next time, peace.